Well, Canada is a police state at this time, and that's what it's like inside of a police state. There is no rule of law. It's now in the hands of what they call the Emergency Act, which is the War Measures Act. So I think the other thing that's important, Bill, is that they suspended the debate in Parliament on the Emergency Act that allows all this to happen. This is not rule of law. This is martial law, in essence. And so we don't have, the media is not supposed to be there. They don't have a debate on it. And they're also arresting at gunpoint and in a very strong way, innocent protesters, if you will. So it's a pretty alarming time. And I would say right now about 350. Now, I just got off the phone before I came on with you, Bill, and some of the truckers do want to go home. They've had enough. They're afraid. They don't want to lose their insurance. They don't want to lose their children. And they're not being let out at this time. There's more than 100 checkpoints in Ottawa, the capital. It's like Berlin, East Berlin now, where you have to go through checkpoints. So I think they're kind of trapped in there.
Got a Fox News alert for you on the convoy crackdown up north. Organizers telling police that most of these truckers, it looks like, are ready to leave, they say, with honor. That's after cops warn them they're going to continue to arrest people who are refusing to leave. Alexis McAdams is live on the ground in Ottawa. Good afternoon, Alexis.
Hi, Shannon. Well, the people I've talked to here on the ground that have been here from day one in this convoy tell me that they'll leave when they're arrested. They plan on leaving without any issues with police. They say they respect the police for doing their job, so they're not just going to pull out of here without a fight. We've seen that now for nearly a month. Now, take a look here. You can see that there's a heavy police presence on the ground, but it's not just here. It's also above. You can see up there at least 2 tactical officers having that bird's eye view on one of the buildings here in downtown Ottawa. That's to make sure that they have a close eye on the crowds from all angles. Now let's get to this video. You can see this presence of police, hundreds of officers from all over the country moving in here to the capital city today. It's the first time in nearly a month that police have now outnumbered the Freedom Convoy. The line of heavily armed officers from agencies across the country have been making arrests today near Canada's Parliament. Police even on horseback going face to face with the demonstrators who are fighting back against COVID restrictions and mandates. 2 of the convoy leaders have been charged with criminal mischief. Police urging protesters to leave or face arrest, but some of them say they're not going anywhere. Listen.
A lot. Kind of got a little bit of adrenaline rush because today seems to be the day, but we all knew this could happen. Hold the line.
What if they come in and tell you they're going to pull yourself arrested?
And that's what they come in and tell me, but we'll hold the line. What we're doing here is lawful. We're allowed to do it. We're going to continue to do it.
Now, there are still kids among the crowds of protesters here. I watched a few walk right by me a minute ago. Police tell us kids will be moved to safety as they continue to make arrests on the ground. Also, tow trucks en route to begin removing the big rigs one by one. Some of those trucks, though, took their tires off, making it more difficult for those tow truck drivers to move them. Police have also been using barricades and checkpoints to close in on the Freedom Convoy. The Premier of Ontario responding to why this all didn't happen sooner.
I think you know this very clearly, that we just don't barge in to an area, into a city. I don't direct the police. At the time, the Ottawa police were in charge. 100%. The mayor was in charge. We did send resources in there immediately, absolutely immediately. And you see the difference.
Now, we're still working to get the latest numbers on arrests, but here on the ground, Shannon, I saw at least a dozen people arrested throughout the day. 2 of those protest organizers were arrested last night without any major incident. And then we're going to show you up this way. This is what's going to happen next, according to the police that we've been talking to on the ground. They're going to move from that one entrance here, and they're going to move up closer to Parliament Hill. That's where most of the protesters and the truckers tell me they're not moving. So it could be a different change that we'll have to keep a close eye on the ground. But it is interesting, as they say they're not moving, they're also thanking the police for doing their job, but just telling them that this is more about freedom than anything else here for Canadians. Shannon?
Okay, a little bit of conflicting messaging, but it sounds like you're saying a lot of these folks do not intend to simply rev up and drive out. So we will check back with you. It's an ongoing situation. Alexis, thank you very much.
Want to get back to one of our top stories now. Canadian police now arresting Freedom Convoy protesters in Ottawa. Some demonstrators still refusing to leave until all the vaccine mandates and restrictions are lifted in Canada. Toronto Sun reporter Joe Warmington is back with us now. And Joe, thanks for coming back here. We've spoken many times over the past 2 weeks. I want you to listen to Tammy Giuliani. She was on with Jesse Waters last night. She owns a little shop and she was outed, and you can just get the sense from her about what she's going through there. Watch.
We have been called terrorist for the first 36 hours. We were inundated with hatred, with threats of violence. People threatened our team on the phone, telling them we're coming to get you. We're going to throw bricks through your window. You'll pay for this, you Nazi supporter. Our rural shop out in Merrickville, Ontario, someone draped a large bed sheet over our sign. I'm sorry. It's been a tough few days, and I think, and the sign read, "Tammy supports terrorists."
You know, Joe, you're like our friendly neighbor to the north, and what you hear from that woman,
right,
is how her own people have turned on her, and I mean, this has been a stunning development for many people there in Canada.
Well, Canada is a police state at this time, and that's what it's like inside of a police state. There is no rule of law. It's now in the hands of what they call the Emergency Act, which is the War Measures Act. So, people like her that were doxxed and all the different things that we've seen, just for donating $25
Yep.
to the truckers convoy, puts you as an enemy of the state. It sounds like Cuba or China. That's kind of what's happening in Canada. I'm sure Americans are waking up to what's going on here. And thanks to Fox, and because it's not covered the same way in Canada, but that's what's happening.
Yeah, interesting. Do you have? I know you're in Toronto. Do you have a sense about how many truckers are left in Ottawa? How many trucks or vehicles are left there? And how far and how willing are the police? How willing are they to go after them today or over the weekend?
No, they're going. It's a civil war, is what it is. They will finish this job, whatever it takes. I was just talking to a trucker who described an incident, and I haven't seen this on video yet, but he said guns were drawn. When I hear that, I realize that at any stake, look, the Prime Minister's made it clear, these people don't matter. They're unacceptable. And of course, they do matter. They matter to everybody, and they have freedom, and they haven't done anything wrong other than parking their trucks there, honking the horn. So yeah, they will do whatever they have to do. This is it's very, very scary. I'll tell you, Bill, what it reminds of, and I think it warns of, is the kind of scene that you may see one day when somebody in politics or in leadership decides that, people need to get their full vaccines to be fully vaccinated, whether it's no vaccines or 2 or 3. It's really about the vaccine for these people, and this is how far they'll go. To go and enforce it. They do not want to lose this, and it really is frightening. I think the other thing that's important, Bill, is that they suspended the debate in Parliament on the Emergency Act that allows all this to happen. This is not rule of law. This is martial law, in essence. And so we don't have, the media is not supposed to be there. They don't have a debate on it, and they're also arresting at gunpoint and in a very strong way. Innocent protesters, if you will. So it's a pretty alarming time, and I know there's different points of view, but that's how I see it.
Yeah, Joe,
I'm a street reporter. So
how many holdouts are there in Ottawa?
I would say right now about 350. Now I just got off the phone before I came on with you, Bill, and some of the truckers do want to go home. They've had enough. They're afraid. They don't want to lose their insurance. They don't want to lose their children, and they're not being let out at this time. There's more than 100 checkpoints in Ottawa, the capital. It's like Berlin, East Berlin now, where you have to go through checkpoints. So I think they're kind of trapped in there, and this is going to play itself out. At the end of the day, I'm calling right now for a royal commission into this, which is, like going before Congress, where you get to A to Z what happened here. Hopefully nobody gets killed on either side. The police are doing their job. They're trying their best. There's many police officers from Toronto, where I'm from, that are there. They're from all over Canada there. And but yeah, there's about 350 holdouts yet.
Okay.
And I think this could go all weekend.
Wow. Or beyond, depending on when they make a move. Joe Warmington, thank you. Toronto Sun with us today in Toronto, Canada. Thank you.